Okay, well, this is my first video tutorial, and I thought it would be easier to explain this over video verbally, a little bit of meditation instruction, than it would be to write it all out. Because fundamentally, I'm very lazy and I believe in shortcuts. So here we go. Um, so I heard you say that you are interested in meditation and are practicing right now, mainly to be able to calm down the thoughts that are in your head. Maybe like the volume of thoughts. Maybe there are lots of thoughts and it's making you feel scattered or unfocused. Um, so, to that end, I might suggest that you do one thing to play with would be to keep sessions very, very short, and maybe start out with 3 different 5-minute sessions, maybe taking 30 seconds to a minute in between each to do absolutely nothing, to just stop meditating altogether. So, in your first meditation session, your first 5-minute segment, what you would do is get in a position that is very comfortable for you, um, ideally with your back straight, but let yourself sink into your seat. Feel relaxed. Take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. And then just let your mind rest on the sounds inside the room and outside the room. And inevitably, your mind will wander to what those sounds means, what you're going to do after this, or you'll feel very tired and heavy and forget, I'm supposed to be listening to sounds. And that's exactly what the mind does. It wanders. So at that point, you'll just bring your mind back to sounds again. You won't hold them really tightly in your awareness. You'll just let the sounds be in your awareness. Some you won't catch, some you will catch, no problem. And inevitably, you'll get distracted again and you'll bring your mind back to sounds in the room, outside the apartment, and repeat for the whole 5-minute period. It could be that you come back to sounds many, many, many times during the meditation session. It could be that you are focusing on sounds for about 10 seconds and then your 5-minute period is up and you forgot the whole sound that you were supposed to be doing sound meditation. Either way, you're meditating, because meditating is simply the practice of coming back to what is again and again until there's continuity. So that's what you'll do during the first 5-minute session that I'm suggesting, sound meditation. The next meditation you'll do is the same thing but with feelings in the body. So not breathing necessarily, though it can include the feeling of the breathing body, actually any feelings. So you'll take a deep breath in, deep breath out at the beginning of this 5-minute session, and then you'll just rest with the feelings you feel in the body. Any feeling is permissible. Tightness, looseness, tiredness. You'll just feel the feeling. And inevitably thoughts will come, and you'll kind of, with your awareness, nod to them very kindly, and then you'll come back to feelings in the body, any kind of feeling at all. Could be pleasant, it could be unpleasant, could be very neutral. It could be feeling tightness in your posture and relaxing, and then feeling what the relaxing feels like. But for that second 5-minute session, every time your mind wanders, you'll just bring it back to feelings in the body. Then in the third 5-minute session, this time during the 5-minute session, you'll focus your attention on thoughts. So in the first session, we focused on sounds, and when our mind wandered, we brought our mind back to sounds inside and outside the room we're in. In the second meditation, our mind wandered and we brought it back kind of even more intimately to the body, letting our awareness rest on any kind of feeling in the body. And of course, knowing that our minds wander, no problem, we brought our mind back again to the body. Then in this last 5-minute session, we turn our attention to our thoughts themselves. So watching our thoughts is a little bit like watching TV. There's just a lot of stuff, a lot of visual images. It's not just words, it's visuals. It comes with sensations too. And it's just going to be like watching TV. And a lot of times, one of two things happens with meditators who use thoughts as kind of the anchor for their meditation. Either the thoughts are so overwhelming, there's just like a waterfall of thoughts that you think that you're not seeing clearly or not doing something right, or the thoughts disappear altogether as soon as you turn your attention to them. In the first case, if there's kind of a waterfall effect, it means that you're seeing it and that actually you're very focused and you're doing everything right. In the second instance, if the thoughts disappear altogether, that's what's happening. So again, you're doing it all right. And my experience of doing thought meditation too is that sometimes you can't even detect all the thoughts because there's so many. The content of them doesn't matter, but you can tell whether they're slippery or blended in together, or if they're kind of like one thought that's nagging at you. But if your mind wanders, just take a moment to breathe in and out again, and then turn your attention back to your thoughts. And then maybe in the last minute of that thought meditation, where you were just resting and watching the thoughts, getting distracted, coming back, resting, watching your thoughts again, you're going to pay particular attention to where the thoughts come from and where they disappear to when they come up. And if no thoughts are coming up, you can even make yourself think one. Maybe think to yourself, I wish I was doing something else. See where that thought comes from and where it disappears to. There's a difference between seeing where it comes from and where it disappears to by way of thinking about it. Like, well, I know that thought comes from my brain and it's disappearing back into my body. That's thinking about it. But what we're really asking here is, can you experience, not think about, but can you experience where the thoughts come from and where they disappear to? So those are the 3 5-minute sessions I suggest doing in a 15-minute period, taking a break to just rest and look around the room and do absolutely nothing between each of the 5-minute sessions. And what you've just done, if you do that, is 2 kinds of meditation. One is called Shamatha meditation, and the other one's called Vipashyana meditation. So shamatha means, in Sanskrit, it means calm abiding. So it simply means that we choose an object. Could be a candle flame, could be a flower, could be our breathing, could be sounds in the room, could be thoughts, could be sensations in the body. It doesn't really matter. Shamatha meditation is about choosing an object and repeatedly resting our attention on that object. Inevitably, we get distracted, and yet we gently bring our mind back to the object we're meditating on. It's less important that you stay on the object, and what's more important is the quality and the kindness and the gentleness with which you return again and again. Imagine that every time you're distracted, it's like a, oops, who cares? And then you gently come back. The attitude with which we come back, the gentleness and kindness with which we return is as important as staying on the object itself. Over time, this can build a sort of calming down of thoughts, but that's not really the goal. There's sort of an irony here that in being with the busyness, it somehow seems to slow down because we're seeing it. And there's a level of volition and agency there. So, shamatha meditation is all about that repetitive coming back, coming back. In higher forms of meditation, you slowly let go of these objects, and what you come back to again and again shifts to more and more subtler forms. So now, right now, we're using gross forms like thoughts and sounds and feelings in the body, and it can go to subtler and subtler forms. But we also had a little segment of the second kind of meditation in these 5-minute clips, and that is called Vipashyana meditation. Vipassana meditation is that which develops insight as to how things are. So in shamatha, it's like tuning the microscope. We're again and again making sure our attention is honed in. We're really making sure the microscope is calibrated, the telescope is wired right, and Vipassana meditation is actually using it. What do we see? So there are two kinds of Vipassana meditation. One is just like you see how things are because you experience them directly. Your perception just experiences them. And another kind is actually using thoughts, analyzing and thinking out loud about how things are. So the last segment of the thought meditation, I prompted you to experience directly with your perception, where do the thoughts come from and where do they go? So these 3 segments are mainly shamatha, calm abiding meditation to help calm the mind and develop stability. And the last portion of the 3rd segment is a little glimpse of Vipassana meditation. And just a note about calming the mind, in at least Buddhist meditation that I study in, what we're talking about is that which holds all that is perceived is what's the calm. So there might be a storm of thoughts, but it's just the fact that our relationship to them is non-problematic. That's the calmness. So the volume of thoughts, the trickle of thoughts, many, few, doesn't really matter. But what we're cultivating is a mind and a heart that can abide under any circumstances again and again and again. So I hope that was helpful. It's a brief 15-minute practice that can introduce you to shamatha. And let me know if you have any questions or what comes up for you. I'm so curious. And I'm sure this is mostly things you already knew anyway. Much love. A bientôt. Bye.